Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GRP. Back at it on a Sunday. This makes 4 days in a row that I've gone live. 3 days here, but 1 day in between on Infinity's channel. So some of y'all have seen me for 4 days in a row, which is crazy. What up, Tyler Fish? Welcome in. Yeah, we had the Watch Party podcast happened last night for UFC 325. Obviously, 325 was last night, and we had a good time watching it here in the studio. A couple buddies of mine in here with me, and we just live reacted to all the fights and had some fun. Normal watch party stuff. Not a big deal. I thought the fight card was pretty good. What's up, 78 Northwest? Welcome back. I think you're one of the ones that have probably been here every single day of these 4 days in a row that I've been live somewhere. So thanks for always showing up. Appreciate you. But yeah, so we had UFC 325 last night. I mean, pretty good card. I thought for the most part there was some good fights all the way through, and yeah, I mean, it seemed to me like it might not be as good of a card as last week's, but I think it turned out pretty good. Would have been so much better with a main event that made sense. Yeah, but I mean, at one point in time, you got to get over that, man. Like that, you have to get past it. You're not going to change it, so we can bitch about it all we want. That's kind of what I've told everybody. It's like, you know, you can complain all day. No, you're not going to change it. We talk about it for a second, and then it's like, it is what it is. We just have to roll with it. That's what it is. You can go talk to, you can stand on it all day, Tyler. Go talk to the UFC, man. Let's see if they listen to you, because they sure as fucking gonna listen to me. So we're just here to talk about what happened and what's gonna happen. And you know, if I don't agree with it, I'll say that, but I'm not gonna keep harping on it, because what am I gonna do? I can't change it. So it was a decent fight night overall, and man. Hey, what's up, Antoine? But yeah, it just it's one of those times. There is a lot to discuss. There was a lot going on last night with the fights, and you know, there was some stuff outside of the UFC that happened as well. Nothing too crazy. A couple things that were funny. What's up, Tyler Betts? Welcome back. Appreciate you for coming in. But you know, as far as everything else goes, a couple little things to talk about. Nothing crazy. Diego Lopes deserves a rematch. Trilogy in this bitch. Oh man. Yeah, I mean, it's talk about, dude. You're gonna give Tyler Fish a fucking heart attack if you keep saying stuff like that. He doesn't think that fight should have even have happened. So, yeah, Lopez did break both of his feet. It sounded like it happened in the 5th round, so I don't know how much that would have affected the entire fight. But if he did, you know, if it happened throughout the fight, I guess that definitely would have made a difference. But I mean, in the performance that Volk had, I think that I think Diego might have had a little more success than he had at some point in time, but I don't know that he would have had enough to win him the fight. Volk moves up to fight Gaethje for interim 155. Oh my God, you're gonna make Tyler Fish off himself with those kind of with those kind of matchups. He hates this one so much. They broke them after to make. Oh my God. You ate all your son's Oreos. Yeah. Holy shit. Chat's just on fire already. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot to take away from some of these fights, but there's some good fights going on in there. Some surprise. Some stuff was surprising, some wasn't. But other than that, you know, we definitely got to recap it all. And we'll talk a little bit about what happened outside the UFC for a quick minute before we get into UFC 325 as a whole. But before we go too far, as usual, I got to give a shout out to my, before we dig into it, what do you have in the Super Bowl? Who do I have? I'm not a Patriots fan whatsoever, so I'll go for the Seahawks because yeah, I'm not down with the Patriots at all. You get worn out with the Patriots for so long, and it was nice not seeing them in there. So don't care to see them in there again. But yeah, Noctane smelling salts. We got the red cap here. Redskins for life. Yeah, I'm not even a fan of either of the teams in there, so that's why I don't really care, to be honest with you. But you know, yeah, it's right. Salt right here, salty. That's right. I'm about to get saltier as we talk about it. I think, Tyler, I hate to say it, but you're the saltiest motherfucker in here. So I don't know who you're talking about, but I'll talk about these salts because these salts are effective and they do positive things for you, unlike just being a salty little crybaby. Anyway, let's take a little whiff of this real quick. Oh, wait. I'm scared because it didn't work. Oh, there it is. Oh, I just had to get a little closer. They're wearing out a little bit, so we got to get a little closer. Oh, damn. Oof. Took my breath away for a second. Holy shit. Noctane, that's what they're good for. They get you nice and awake and alert. I definitely need that. I feel a little tired today. It's been an okay day. It just went by kind of fast. But you know, when you overly rage bait, Tyler, it's not believable anymore whatsoever because it just gets played out, man. So sometimes you got to give it up and let it settle, and then maybe come back with some more rage bait that might actually get me. But now I'm so used to it, it's just like I don't even know what to do anymore. And you know what? I work with somebody who likes to do the rage bait thing, and it's super annoying, and it just gets tiresome, and I just don't believe anything they say whatsoever at all. So it just gets to the point where I ignore you because I think that's all you're doing is rage baiting. So rage bait or gaslighting, well, you know, us old heads might call it gaslighting, but rage bait is the new word apparently. Yeah, Zuffa Boxing main card is live right now. That's true. I did not realize it was gonna be on right at the same time. So yeah, once again, missing it. I should have watched the prelims, but I was a little busy doing other stuff. Sometimes got to get away from all of it, you know what I mean? But I was just you know, just hanging out with the fam and catching up on kind of just, oh, thanks Noctane for the sponsorship, by the way. I got to get that out of there. But yeah, sometimes you just got to get away from it all and maybe do some scrolling and just look at other things other than combat sports sometimes just to get away from it. So, you know, I didn't even think about jumping in on that Zuffa Boxing. I knew I wouldn't be able to watch the main card either when I realized it. So it's one of those things, man. I'm not that interested. I mean, I'm not that big on boxing as it is. And I'm interested in the fact that it's a Zuffa product, and Dana White's, you know, promoting it all. But there's nothing really crazy about it right now. So I'm not worried about it really. I'll catch it. Okay. Damn, you hate boxing? No, I don't hate it. I'm just not that into it. It's just one of those things where it doesn't really catch my attention that much. I'll pay attention to some of the I'm not as hateful about it as Tyler is. Tyler Fish, by the way. But but I definitely just, you know, I don't care to go out of my way for it most of the time. I like boxing, but I just can't sit down and watch it all. I watch too much MMA, and I'd rather put my time and effort into that, unless there's something that really catches my attention. But I just can't, man. There's too many other things going on. I spend so much time on this show and watching MMA that I just, you know, I don't have enough time for all of it. So I don't hate boxing whatsoever. I just can't get into it like that. So I have to pick and choose what I spend most of my time on, and I do this show on mainly MMA. So it's what I got to spend my time on, and I enjoy that the most. I've been watching it for so long now that that's what I do. So that's why I don't really, you know, spend a whole lot of time on a bunch of other things, because I just can't do it. So unless I spend every waking moment of my life, which I have a wife that I shouldn't be ignoring because I'm doing nothing but watching fights. She already puts up with enough of it, so I'm not gonna add more in there. And I appreciate her for understanding and being nice about it. And and also I got a couple kids. They're grown now, but I still, you know, I wouldn't be paying any attention to them either. So I just like to I just like to make sure that I don't, you know, completely ignore everybody. I have to engage with the family because I want to as well. And then when I start feeling disconnected, it's like, it's pretty bad. So I don't really want to feel that way, and I don't want them to feel that way. So you know what? I'll pay attention to the one thing I like the most, which is the UFC and MMA. So that's what I do. I don't know why I just blurted all that out to you guys, but it's the truth. Aside from the rage baiting and the shit talking, that's the real reason why. So I actually don't hate boxing whatsoever. I like all the combat sports, unless you consider slap boxing or slap fighting a combat sport, and then I don't like all of them. So anyway, let's get to it and jump into what we're here for. And I had to take a drink real quick, and let's get in here and get started with all the combat sports talk. And we'll start with this boxing match. Speaking of boxing, so we had the Ring 6 card happening last night. The main event, I think, started after the main event of the UFC was done. So that was cool for boxing fans that like to watch UFC as well. Shakur, he did look good. You know, a lot of people weren't super high on this fight, but I mean, Shakur definitely looked good in it. He took Teofimo to school, from what I understand, and everything that I read. So I think I watched a little bit because I did actually see somebody with it on TikTok, and you know, I stopped in for a second just to see what was going on, and you know, it didn't catch. What the hell? Something just fell. Weird. Oh, it's my wires over there. But yeah, you know, it didn't really catch my attention, and I was just like, so I kept it moving. But yeah, Shakur Stevenson beats Teofimo Lopez to gain the world WBO and Ring Magazine World Super Lightweight title. So there's that. Keyshawn Davis got the TKO win with a body shot over Jermaine Ortiz, and that was in the 12th round. So you went pretty much the entire fight and got that TKO in the last round, which is cool. Bruce Carrington got the win over Carlos Castro for the WBC World Featherweight title. That was a TKO with a right-left hook combination in the 9th round. So he gains that title there. Austin Williams beat Wendy Toussaint in 10 rounds for a unanimous decision. And then Kevin Castillo as well got a unanimous decision over Zaid Al-Mayouf. And then we also had, in the middle of there, we had Jarrell Big Baby Miller versus Kingsley Abe. As you see, I didn't say anything about Carlos Adonis versus Austin Williams because that fight got canceled. So there was no outcome for that one because Adames had an illness the day of the fight. So they they canceled that one. But Big Baby Miller and Kingsley Abe had a fight, and it was kind of hilarious. This is the interesting stuff that came out of this one. Big Baby Miller got his hair knocked off of his fucking head, as you can see, quite literally. It's pretty fucking funny. We had Sky Nicholson in the crowd sporting the toupee on her head, which I guess Ariel Helwani found disgusting. I mean, I understand, but she's used to sweating and stuff, so when it comes down to it, I don't see why anybody would give a shit, really. But I guess if you had it on your head, it would be gross. Some other dudes sweating and stuff all over it. And some people find fake hair, like especially like that, because that legit looks like an old school toupee. A lot of people find that disgusting. and it freaks him out. But yeah, it was getting passed around. It was kind of weird. And then you see the big bald spot on the top of his head, like the circle that's just missing with the excess hair. It was weird. This is the only interesting thing that happened. Yeah. I thought it was hilarious, so I got a good laugh out of it, so I figured I would put it out here just because. But funny enough, he lost his hair, but he didn't lose the fight. He won the fight by split decision. He legit has a ring on his head. Yeah. So yeah, he lost his hair, but he didn't lose the fight. He got a win by split decision over Kingsley Abe, and just an interesting way for that match to wind up. But that is your Ring 6 card. Shakur Stevenson definitely looked good from what I hear and from what I saw and read up on. Teofimo Lopez looked like he just couldn't find a rhythm in there whatsoever, and couldn't find any openings, and Shakur is just putting on a show with his footwork and movement. So Teofimo versus Shakur, I don't know them that well, honestly. I know Terrence Bud Crawford was in there talking mad shit to Teofimo's team, because apparently they were trolling and talking shit to him and Shakur ahead of time. So he was in there talking mad shit, doing fucking what's it called, Fortnite emotes on him and shit like that. So I don't even know what the hell that was happening, but I was like, damn, Bud Crawford didn't even talk that much shit to Canelo when he was fighting Canelo, but he was talking all kinds of shit. Sort of reminds me of the female UFC fighter that lost a fake eyelash. Oh yeah, that was Tracy Cortez, when she got her eyelash punched off her face by Rose Namajunas. I think this one's crazier because his whole entire looked like he got just his head popped off, the top of his head popped off of it was weird, but definitely interesting and funny. Just saw a bunch of memes and a bunch of stuff going around social media about it, so I definitely wanted to talk about it. Unfortunately, real boxing fans are gonna be mad that that's what I talked about here, but I'm straightforward about it, and I'm truthful about it, that I don't follow boxing that closely, so I'm not gonna sit here and act like I know everything about it. I just like to cover it, give the results if you hadn't seen it, and that's about it. That's all I can really do with it. So let's move on to DBX 5, another iteration of boxing. And we had I don't even know that I mentioned it, but it was the inaugural bantamweight championship for the women. I know I mentioned the fight that Jessie Jess and Bittencourt was going to be fighting, Paula Bittencourt. Yeah, they had the inaugural championship fight for the women, and Jessie Jess, she looked good in her previous fights in DBX. I almost said BKFC. I don't know why. So she's had 2 other fights, and confirmed upcoming bout. What? I don't understand. They didn't update it. Okay, well, that would be why. Anyway, she had 2 previous fights that she won, and I don't know why the what do you call it, Tapology doesn't have updates on DBX. They're usually on top of it for this one, but they're not on this event, so that's kind of weird. Yeah, anyway, she did lose that fight, if I remember correctly. So I was kind of expecting her to win just because she looked so good in her previous fights, and she was not able to pull it through. Let me get to hopefully they have on their website, because if they don't, that's kind of weird. Can we get why is it so hard to just give me results? I don't get it. It shouldn't be that hard. It should be on the front page. So DBX needs to kind of fix that, I think, because unless I'm just a dumbass, which I mean might be the case according to some of you, which is fine, but I'm just like, if I click on events and it says, and it has past events is your first thing, and it doesn't show you anything. It just says fight dirty. It doesn't give you anything. And on their homepage, they have a link to the YouTube page, which is where they show it, and they just have the promotion on there. They don't have anything else. So yeah, you think DBX is paving the way, I think you meant, right? More than UFC, like 400K for Jessica Rose Clark. I don't know, man. I think they're just trying to establish themselves, so they're gonna kind of do what they can in order to be able to kind of get their name out there. It seemed like they were having some issues for a little while, but maybe now and it looks like they're trying new things here and there as well. So I think that they're just doing what they can to make sure that they keep it interesting, keep people interested in watching the event, and they're going to do whatever they can. I don't know, the UFC is just so structured. They just kind of I guess they're kind of hard-headed about it, and they figure they don't need to change things too much. I mean, of course the bonuses got better, which is pretty nice. If you win a bonus and you pretty much get double what you used to get, and if you get a finish now, but there was discretionary stuff beforehand too. Swinging through for a few, we're kind of busy. Oh, okay, Infinity, appreciate you for coming by, regardless. But yeah, Paula Betancourt did win against Jessie Jess, so sucks for Jessie Jess. I do like watching her fight, and she's one of those girls that I appreciated while she was in the UFC, even though she didn't have the best UFC run ever. But it seems like she's found her a place in dirty boxing, and I think that she'll come back and she'll probably fight for the belt again and possibly win. Just wasn't her night. So if I could find all of the results, it would be awesome, but I can't seem to find them. So I'm not going to be able to go through everything because, yeah, it's just kind of dumb. Oh, here we go. So, no, everywhere I look, they don't even have updated results, which is insane. And it's probably because everyone would get the results from their webpage, you would think, their official webpage, and you can't even find them there. So that's something DBX needs to keep up on and maybe tighten up on that, because if you can't find them with a quick, I can Google UFC events, and on the very first page, I don't even have to click into anything. Google will just bring it up for me, and you'll get all of the outcome of the fight in real time, actually, during the night that it's happening. But also, as soon as I bring it up right now, which is the next night, it's up there ready to go. So I think DBX needs to kind of tighten that up a little bit. But otherwise, I enjoy their promotion, and I enjoy their fights and their broadcasts. The broadcasting team seems a little sleepy at times, and but Mike Perry's entertaining, and he's in there a lot. So I'm not going to doubt on DBX whatsoever. This is their 5th official event. They've had a lot of big ones in the past with a lot of interesting fighters on it. But they just need to make it a little easier to find results and stuff like that to keep people up to date, you know what I mean? And then somebody like me who's talking about them on a show where, there's an audience, they don't even have results up for DBX40. I'm not surprised at this point, seeing as how hard it is. I think I remember finding results for it when I did go over it last time, but I'm not sure. I know in the past when Gable Steveson was on that one, and I remember finding something for it. I just haven't looked for it since. So it's just kind of weird, you know what I mean? But it is what it is. DBX, it's still a pretty much new promotion, so we'll see if they can tighten things up a little bit. And shit, if they paid enough, I would keep track of it for them and post it for them. But I don't know if they can pay me enough to quit my job to do that. I don't think they're that big of an organization yet. Not like they know who the fuck I am anyway. I have interviewed one of their fighters before, though. The Wolf, Perez was I got to interview him, so that was cool. And he's a wild dude. I can't wait to see him come back and get a fight in again, because he was supposed to fight for that title against Rosenstruck, but he was not able to make it. He got ill and injured, I think, so that sucks, but hopefully he comes back and does it. Shit. All right, man. So let's get into UFC 325. That's what we're really here for, and that's what most of this will be about, obviously. DBX did have, me and Infinity were noticing, we were watching a little bit of it on Friday after we got done with our podcast that we did at his house, and he made me some wings, which was pretty cool. We just had a little grub after the podcast, so appreciate that, Infinity. But we were watching it, and we were making fun of the corners because they padded the shit out of the corner with what looks like a piece of a couch, which is pretty funny. But yeah, that was something I hadn't seen before. It's interesting. Like I said, they're trying different things. They're gonna tie it all down. They have a pretty good production and product so far, but they can always make it better. So Tyler, if that was true, man, shit, yeah, huge ass bumpers for sure. Tyler, if that was true, I don't think you'd talk as much shit about the UFC because they pay you, unless you're that crazy. But I don't think your parents would be happy about you skipping school for some stuff like that. You'd have to be traveling a lot. But anyway, let's get to UFC 325. I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah, so Volkanovski versus Lopes 2, the rematch. It is what it is. It happened. It was the fight that we got, and I mean, I was entertained with it. Turnbuckle looks like chocolate wafers. It does. It really fucking does. And it just looks like it looks like it didn't fit properly. Maybe they just were trying to get something that worked for the corners, and they, it just wasn't perfect. Who knows? If we see it again the next time, that means that's what they had. Car cushions. Yeah, so Volkanovski versus Lopes, like I said, I thought it was a decent card overall. We had some exciting fights. We had a lot of decisions in between there too, but some of them were worth watching regardless of the fact that it was a decision as an outcome. But we had a good mix of everything. There was actually a decent amount of submissions. There was a good amount of finishes all the way around. So we will obviously start Volk versus
Oh shit, here we go again.
We'll start at the bottom. They had the road to the UFC fights. One of them got canceled, which was the one where Aaron Tao was kind of cheating by putting his elbows on the little curtain rod thing that they put up for him to be able to, basically strip down and try to make weight. And he was putting his elbows on it, kind of reminiscent of DC with the Talgate thing. So he thought he was DC, exactly. Shawnee, what's up, Shawnee? Lopes is still a good fighter in the featherweight, but yeah, Volk is just different when he's on his game. I like what he said that he only wants to fight the #1 contender in the post-fight interview. Yeah, that's good for him, guy. He was already telling Lerone Murphy, let's go, after Lerone Murphy got that spinning elbow knockout of Aaron Pico. But you saw that too as getting another opportunity, though. Yeah, they talked about that on the broadcast, and yeah, that's kind of crazy, man. He's pretty marketable. The CST guys were talking about that as well in the chat, or in our group chat, about the fact that he's marketable. It's like you just look at him and he looks crazy with the tattoos on his face and shit. So they can replace Kai Kara France. But yeah, he got, he made the fight go away, because just like Shawnee just said, from 122 to 129, bro needs to work on his DC game. Yeah, that is quite a bit of difference to be trying to pass up, as the proper weight. It was really obvious at that point that he was cheating, and the fact that somebody caught it and told him to get back on the scale and re-weigh in without the curtain on there, damn well that the small shorts he was wearing, taking those off, were not going to give him 7 pounds. So he was quite obviously doing something he shouldn't have been doing, and it's insane. So that fight got canceled. But we will start with the first fight of the night, since that one got canceled out, and that was Lawrence Louis versus Suling Grangbo. And this was a split decision win for Louis, getting he won the tournament finals in the bantamweight division for the road to the UFC. So he was able to get that title, and now he'll be, making his way back, or making his way over into the UFC as a proper UFC fighter at this point. And Suling Grangbo, he put up a fight, but he wasn't able to get it done. It was a split decision, so he should have just taken 3-pound over, since it could have been his first fight in the UFC. He was a great prospect. Yeah. What's the context? I'm just here in live. Context for what's on the screen, or are you talking about the weight cutting stuff I was talking about? There's a couple things. I'm jumping around. I'm sorry. So welcome in, PSL. But yeah, I know I'm jumping around a little bit. I'm keeping up with the chat too, so we kind of multitask here, man. So I apologize for that. But if you just want to tell me which one you were wondering about, I can break down on screen, gang. Okay, so this was Lawrence Louis versus Suling Grangbo. This was the first fight of the night on the prelims for the UFC road to the UFC bout. It was they have this road to the UFC that usually happens for like Asian fighters that they bring up, and pretty much it's like an ultimate fighter for overseas. And you kind of gotta catch it. They don't cover it a whole lot, but you can follow it and you can watch it. But I really don't get into it that much. But they had the finals of each weight class happening in the early prelims of UFC 325. So that's what I'm doing, is just catching up on that. I usually just bring up some visuals for it, talk about it for a quick second, and move on so we can get through the prelims, and then I start breaking down the main card fights a little bit more in depth. So that's where we're starting at right now, because this was the first fight of the night on the prelims, and Lawrence Louis got the split decision win over Suling Grangbo. So it's mostly the lower weight classes in Asia. Yeah, definitely, because not Tua. Tua's in here. What's his name? Tao. He was the 125er. That was the fight that was supposed to happen, but because of the weight cut. Yeah, no problem, PSL. Thanks for jumping in. Appreciate you. Hopefully you stick around a little bit. But make sure you guys all hit the like button too while you're here, if you don't mind. It helps out my channel, and I'd appreciate it. And if you like what you see and you're new here, hit the subscribe button too, if you don't mind. If not, no big deal. Hit that like button while you're here, at least, though. How do you feel about Road to the UFC? Do you think it serves a purpose? Yeah, we've seen some decent fighters coming out of this little tournament that they have. I think it's good for overseas content, and it brings over some fighters that maybe aren't being noticed too much by people in the US. And I think it does serve its purpose. It's just another thing to watch. So yeah, Antoine, I'm about to hit that one up right now, but that was definitely a fun fight. But yeah, it definitely serves a purpose, and I think it gets some fighters from over in Asia to get noticed, and bring them into the UFC for those lower weight classes that we all know could use a little bit of help here and there. I don't get Road to the UFC. I'm new to UFC, because what's the difference between that and Dana White Contender Series? It's basically more overseas. Like, it's more to focus on the fighters in Asia. Dana White's Contender Series is kind of like the guys that everyone knows that are up and comers, that they're watching from like LFA, all those all those like Octagon and stuff like that, all those other kind of lower level organizations. That's what Dana White's Contender Series, they just go out and find people and bring them in. Road to the UFC is more solely focused on like Asian fighters and stuff like that. So anytime that you can bring fighters from all around the world into competition, I love it. Yeah, I agree, Shawnee. It's a good way to just find out about fighters you don't know about. So yeah, next up though, we had the fight that Antoine was talking about. We had oh shit, how did I miss this one? Oh, there it is. Kichiro Nakamura versus Sebastian Zalay. Holy shit. If Ilya and Islam ever fought in welterweight, who would win? that's tough, man. I've been asked this a couple times, and I don't know. I feel like if Ilya can overcome the grappling wrestling of Islam, then he would have a good chance because he's such a crafty striker and he hits very hard. But I mean, Islam's got the weight over him, and they're both fighters that went up in weight classes. So they both used to be in lower weight classes, and now they've jumped up. So then if they fight each other, it's still kind of a difference in weight, and it would be it's tough to, you know, to kind of guess on that. For me, I overanalyze things too much. So yeah, I don't know, man. That's a tough one for me to call for sure. Some people feel like it shouldn't exist, and they should be Dana White's Contender Series, but it gives Asian fighters, yeah. LFA is easy to make money too. Oh, I bet, Christian, for sure. Lots of some of those fighters are missing a push via social media. I think Islam beats Ilya at 170. I think Ilya beats Islam at 155. I mean, that's a good point, Shawnee. It's a matter of where they fight. You said at welterweight, and I mean, I don't know if how's Ilya's power going to be up against someone who's at that weight already? But being that's why I think it's tough to call, because Islam was a 155er that just moved up. So how much is he gonna be that much better up there? We've only seen him once, right? So there's not a lot to tell from either one of them. So I think it's one of those things that we have to just kind of wait a little while longer to see, unless they just match it up soon. Catch weight would be solution, but Ilya wants a third bout. Yeah, they would never put them at a catch weight, being at the level that they're both at, being champions. And the fact that Ilya is kind of holding up the division right now with his outside circumstances, with his marriage falling apart and the custody battle that he's in, they're definitely not going to hold up that division any longer by letting him move up and do that, unless he vacates the belt. And I don't think he wants to do that just yet, but you never know, because he did that in the lightweight division. So who knows what happens? We just have to wait for him to come back and see if he unifies that title with Justin Gaethje or not. I think it comes down to Islam cut to 155 now, so that is why I got Taporia. Yeah, if Islam cuts to 155, it's going to be tough, because that's why he moved up. He didn't want to have to make that cut anymore. And if he's already settled into 170 and is off that, you know, dropping down to that much weight, it's going to be real tough for him. Never would be a catch weight, especially. Yeah, and the UFC is never going to bring a 165 in, at least not in the near future. So back to Nakamura versus Zalei. This was a fun fight, man. We had a TKO win due to this knee that you see in that lower picture, but Nakamura started putting it on Zalei and was able to sneak that knee in there. They went to the third round. It was 3 minutes and 48 seconds in, and Nakamura was able to get this win by TKO. Oh no, it's all good, Shawnee. No, it's all good. I stop and read the chat too, so you know, I like to interact when I see stuff that's interesting, for sure. And PSL brought some interesting questions in, so I appreciate that. That's what I like. I like interaction and stuff. If I mention something like back to this, it's just because I'm trying to get myself back on track. Don't worry about it. You guys can discuss whatever you want. I'll jump in when I can. I'll ignore whichever ones I feel necessary to ignore. Don't get offended. We just keep rolling. But Nakamura put on a good show against Zalei. Zalei was having a decent showing in the beginning, but Nakamura was able to turn it around and get this knee in there and get to finish him. So that was a good win for him. Next up, we had Dom Mar Fan versus Sang Uk Kim. And this was a fun fight too. It went to unanimous decision. But as you can see, Marfan was able to get some good punches in there with that nasty punch on the bottom, that big elbow on the top picture. And these guys were kind of going at it. It was about, I think it was almost 2 minutes left in the third round. And Kim was like pointing down to the ground a bunch and just kept doing it. And Marfan started kind of talking shit. He kneed him in the nuts one time, and he was real apologetic about it. And it seemed like there was a bit of a back and forth weirdness there. Then they got back to fighting, and Kim started pointing down at the ground. Marfan kind of did this whole like flip him off type shit, and then he was like, no, sorry. Like he regretted doing it. He didn't want to be disrespectful, but he flipped him off. So it was a kind of weird exchange, but 2-round and bro just fired up. Yeah. If y'all were fighters, would you be content with competing on the regional scene your entire career and never making the UFC? Well, monetarily, probably not. I mean, if you're doing it at the level where you're you know, dedicating your life to it, the goal is always going to be to get to the UFC and try to make some really good paychecks. But it's tough. And, you know, do you want to get to the UFC and kind of be a losing fighter up there, or do you want to get to the UFC and be a mediocre fighter? That's tough too. There's a lot to think about when it comes down to it. I don't think I'd be content without getting to the UFC, but it just depends on the type of all is good. What's up? Welcome back. GRP Fight League main. Shit.
What's happening with you, man?
Yeah, I don't think any fighter is content with not making it to the highest levels that they can make it to. And then once you get to that highest level, you then want to compete for the title and get that title, which very few of them get to. So, bro, but Diego doesn't even deserve the title for Volk versus Mo. Yeah, I mean, we all agree. I feel like it wasn't the worst fight in the world. And regardless of whether or not he deserved it at the moment or not, it's the matchup that they made. So in the end, it's what we got. Let's hope that Volk gets what he wants and gets the #1 contender. I mean, Movzar's been needing to get that fight for a while. You got Lerone Murphy out there on a 9-fight, 10-fight win streak, something like that. That's crazy. And look at his last fight too, how impressive that was. So I think they're gonna start putting those guys in there. I don't know what their hesitation is on it and why they put this Lopez fight together again, but it is what it is. It wasn't a horrible fight. It wasn't the best in the world, but it wasn't horrible either. So if you were a fighter, how long would you practice on the regional scene? Like, what age would you make a debut? What age would you make a debut where, in the UFC or altogether? I think the younger you get into the regional scene, the better. But I think making sure you have a good enough fight IQ and good enough experience against different levels of opponents makes a lot more sense before you get into the UFC. Because I think these guys that jump into the UFC way too quick, when they only have like 5 or 6 fights and then they get into the UFC, they lack the experience unless they have that natural talent that really carries them through. But even those guys struggle. So for me, I would say for sure getting in there early, getting in the regional scene early is a good thing, and then fighting for a couple years in there and kind of getting a record together that's hopefully winning would be a good thing. People still say in socials that Ilya ducks Movzar, but I think Ilya would have KO now cold. Yeah, I mean, I think he's got that power to get it done, but some of these fights are, man, it's just always a question, you know. It's always a question. There's always going to be a question about who can do what. The MMA math doesn't always math. And Sean, oh Jesus, I'm glad I didn't read that one. Juice Man always coming in with the crazy takes. What do you think is the best martial arts for a base? I think it's pretty proven that wrestling is a great base. It's undeniable at this point. But yeah, boxing with kicks, yeah, so basically kickboxing is a good one too, because it kind of incorporates, you know, the other weapons that you have. I think at this point, maybe a base that you have a little more experience in is good, but I think being a well-rounded, all-around fighter is the best way to go, because of the fact that, when, you know, you kind of need to know everything. But if you're not a master at anything and you're just good at everything, sometimes that doesn't work either. So wrestling, I agree with Shawnee. Wrestling, and PSL said it too, wrestling is a great base, and I'm sure Tyler Fish would agree with that as well, because he's a wrestler. But besides anybody's bias towards it, I think wrestling is undeniably a great base. Wrestling and grappling, you got to have that. But if you don't have any striking to go with that, it's only going to take you so far. Even though Marab's out there, but his striking's gotten a little bit better. What is that, Tyler? Oh man. But yeah, I mean, wrestling, there's no way around it. I think that's always been the thing. I didn't believe that in the past, but the more it's been proven to me so many times at this point that I can't deny it. So let's move on to the next one, and we got the beginning of the regular prelim fights. Bro, your predictions of, oh, it went away. Anthony Smith, podcasting base main. Same thing about Anthony Smith. It's always, his takes aren't the best for the most part, and he just man, he's just so monotone. I guess I can't really talk. I'm not sure that I get too crazy excited about things, but at the same time, if you get me going, which is all is good point all the time, is to get me on a rant. I mean, I can get going on some shit, but yeah, Anthony Smith, I don't know. I can't really watch it. Bro, predictions about Max versus Charles. Ooh, that's tough. I think with the way that Charles lost to Ilya, I think he's going to have trouble with Max. But at the same time, he's got a decent, he's got a decent skill level, obviously, because of his past, to be able to give Max some issues as well. But the thing is they're both kind of at the same point right now. I think with Charles getting knocked out like as bad as he did against Ilya, it's going to be tough for him to go up against Max with the crazy striking that Max has and the kinds of battles and wars that Max likes to get into. But Charles hadn't been finished like that before. So Charles hadn't been finished like that before Ilya. So Ilya is a different type of dude, but who knows how he bounces back with, like, how's his chin gonna be? And with Max doing what he's done to people like Gaethje, who are tough to get out of there, man, it's gonna be tough for Charles, and he's gonna have to try to find a way. Cybercop, is Volk the physically strongest featherweight? I think that's a good thing. Oh god, here comes another one. Nah, bro, I can't see Charles getting KO'd again. Yeah, I don't know that he'll get KO'd, but I think he's gonna have trouble with Max's striking, just because of how crazy Max is with his striking. His boxing's good. He lands punches. He can be a sniper at times, but a lot of times it's just crazy wild punches that land. So I don't know that he'll be able to knock him out, but I do think he'll have a good time trying. And I think Charles gets hit a lot too. And just being knocked out like he did before. I'm just curious as to where his chin is. But I respect Charles a lot, and I it's a kind of a toss-up. It's a pretty decent one for a BMF match for sure. Regarding the wrestling, damn, chat's just moving, bro. I can't even keep up. I think that might have been Chad Mendez. We need more main events with heat on them. Boring to see all these guys respecting each other all the time. I guess I can agree with that a little bit. Khan versus, oh yeah, I'll get to that. This was an interesting fight. Khan coming from the Ultimate Fighter series, and Yiza coming from Road to the UFC. Good point there with Yiza coming from the Road to the UFC. That's a prime example of one of the guys that has come from there. Do y'all think PJJ artists can still dominate with that as their base? I think so, but they have to be able to incorporate some striking in there too. They can't just be like, who was that guy, Ryan, the dude that would do rolls, the rolling into the leg lock shit. Once he gets hit, he's done for. So I think that as a base is good, but if that's all you can do, it doesn't fare very well. Ryan Hall, thank you, Antoine, I appreciate it. I couldn't remember his last name. He didn't do very well once people started being able to defend that little crazy roll that he would do. So it is what it is. But Khan Ofley versus Yiza was interesting. A lot of people hated this fight, hated the outcome of this fight because they thought Yiza got the win. According to the numbers, he fucking did. Unfortunately though, they gave it to Khan Ofley, and a lot of people chalk that up to the fact that they're in Australia, and it was that kind of a fight. I'm not exactly sure. Volk is very difficult to hold down. Jean Silva was held down by Diego for the majority of the first round, but Volk gets up. Yeah, that's a great point. He definitely does get up, and is it, he doesn't get held down very much, and we've seen him fight through being put into crazy submissions like Brian Ortega did to him. I talked about that last night on the watch party, how he got out of that crazy guillotine where his veins were popping out of his head, and then the fact that he got out of that triangle attempt as well from T-City of all people. So yeah, he's tough to hold down and keep down, and he's tough to submit as well. So you might be onto something there with Volk being the strongest fighter in the featherweight division. Robbery, yeah, this fight definitely, I mean, I have to agree with everybody because the numbers proved it. And, you know, the fight itself, you know, everyone was kind of giving Yiza those 2 rounds out of the 3 no matter what. So I don't know how exactly this turned out this way, but it did. And it's a tough one. Some people lost some money on it, which Christian Garcia did. I know that he said it. He was in here talking about that. So definitely a robbery. It sucks to see that kind of shit go down, but yeah, it is what it is. There ain't shit we can do about it but talk about how much of a shitty thing it was. And I hate to see fights go down like that. Yeah, I think we all feel somewhat of the same way about Ryan Hall. I know that's not up there for you guys, but it's on the screen. I just saw it. Did Alexander surpass Aldo last night for you? Or do the WC title defenses? I think the WC title defenses count. So I think overall Aldo's a fucking legend no matter what. But in the UFC especially, and I mean, I guess as a career in total, I think Aldo still edges him out. But the fact that Volk is not done yet means he can actually surpass Aldo in my eyes. I don't think he's surpassed him yet. I think he's right there with him. And I think that recency bias is a bitch, man, especially when you're the fighter getting told you're not as good as somebody from the past, you know, or somebody from the past being told that they're not as good as the guy that's here now. So it's a tough thing to say. I think that Volk has potential to be considered that way regardless of what anybody thinks. If he continues on the path that he's been on, he's right there with him for sure. I think they're pretty even at the moment. Tyler Betts. Volk just knows how to beat these almost 6-foot dudes with his striking. He's an abnormally because he wins both outside the range and in the pocket. Yeah, he knows how to make himself long, which is crazy. About Islam, who would be Islam's best opponent for now in welterweight to defend while Ilya defending against Justin? Oof, that's a tough one, man. I'd have to look into it. I hate just saying things without really looking at the rankings and stuff. Are you one of those people that says Aldo was out of his prime against Max? I mean, I think that's kind of proven, right? I mean, after he lost the title to Conor, that put a significant like beating on his mental, and I think that weighed heavy on him. So yeah, man, I don't know. I think Aldo was, you know, kind of could have retired a couple times before coming back and winning some more of those fights. I don't think Aldo definitely didn't go out like some of the other guys that went out way too late. You know what I mean? He did a lot for the sport and did a lot for his career. So man, you guys are going nuts in here. I'll let you guys talk about some of these things amongst yourselves while I continue on here, because I haven't even got through the prelims yet. But I appreciate all of it, man. Islam versus Prime Usman. I think Islam wins that one. I think Usman's got good wrestling and decent striking, but I think Islam is a different animal at that one. So Randy Johnson, main. That fucking bird killer. Nolan Ryan fucking beat the shit out of people that came after him on the mound, which is badass. I respect the shit out of Nolan Ryan. But yeah, I don't know if Kamaru was really at the prime or at the highest level that Islam's been at. So oh yeah, Chase. Yeah, but Chase didn't go that way, thank God. Kamaru was a monster in his prime, but looking at it now, I don't know. Gave a tough fight to Hamza. No, that is true. That is true. So that's why I don't count him out 100%. But I just think that Islam would probably be able to edge it out. It may not be his best fight ever, but I think he would be able to get the win. Yeah, but look at the guys he was knocking out, though. That's the only thing. Like, you know, Gamebred. Jorge Masvidal was kind of out of his element at that time. So, you know, all he did was that crazy flying knee, and that's what kind of propelled him into stardom once again. And yeah, I don't know, Usman, he got head kick KO'd, and then it was kind of, I don't want to say over for him, but it took a toll on him. So yeah, it's tough. But anyway, moving on. This fight was a robbery. We know. Size matters, bro. If Ilya KO him, he just cemented himself. Yeah, if Ilya KOs Islam at 170, that's insane. That's insane. But I'm not sure if he could do it. It'd be tough. Moving on. This was a fun fight. We had Jonathan Mikhailov versus Oban Elliott. And I believe Oban Elliott actually dropped Mikhailov earlier in the rounds. And then I think it was in the first round. And then Mikhailov was able to come back and wind up getting the rear naked choke on Oban Elliott. Oban Elliott's a tough dude. He's one of those guys that, you know, he looks impressive at times, and other times, you know, he fights hard, but, you know, people can get the best of him. Let's see, he was coming off that loss to Seo Kyung Ko by unanimous decision, and so now he's on a 2-fight losing streak. He had that crazy win over Basil Hafez, where he got a performance of the night bonus there. But Mikhailov is one of those awkward type dudes that you don't think you're gonna see the best fights out of him, and then you get some decent fights. He's 2-0 now in the UFC with this win. I love this chat because we all love MMA. I hate how he's no, it's all good, man. You guys are good. I appreciate the fact that you guys are willing to engage and talk about things, so it's all good. My flow of the show will keep going, and I'll get to things. It's not a big deal. I'm not used to the chat going this crazy, but we get through it, man, and we learn how to go. And I wouldn't ask for anything less. I would say sometimes I just can't get to everything. So as long as you guys aren't offended by that, talk amongst yourselves about some of these things, and hopefully you're still watching the show a little bit here and there too. But yeah, we keep rolling, man. It's all good. But yeah, for Mikhailov to come in and get his second win in a row in the UFC, coming out the Contender Series, where he was able to get a submission in the Contender Series as well in the first round. You know, he's looking pretty good, man. He's looking pretty good so far. So he's definitely got some decent fights or decent matchups that he can take coming up for him. So getting that engagement, man. Yeah, for sure. So this was a fun fight. Regardless, it went to the second round. 3 minutes and 31 seconds in, Mikhailov gets that rear naked choke and finishes that fight. So he'll be getting that $25K for finishing the fight, which is awesome for him. And then we move on to Jacob Malkoun versus Therese Finney. And this one, people were crazy about because Therese Finney was undefeated at 11-0. And while he didn't look the best, in his first fight with that split decision win over Robert Valentine, you know, with all of the hype around him, he fought twice in the Contender Series where he got a decision in his first fight against Cam Rouston, who fought on this card as well. He beat Cam Rouston by unanimous decision in 2024, or in August of 2024. And then in October, he came back to the Contender Series again because Dana didn't really like his showing, told him to come back and try it again. And they brought him back in October of 24, and he got the TKO win in the first round over Abdullah Rami. So he made his debut in 2025, got the win over Robert Valentine to put him at 10-0 and make him 1-0 in the UFC. And then he meets Jacob Malkoun, who is able to get the unanimous decision win over him. Therese Finney, I mean, he just struggled a lot, as you can see in these pictures. He got touched up, and you know, it was a pretty decent fight. It wasn't the best, you know, but it was a decent fight. Malkoun was able to take that O away from Therese Finney, and we'll see what Finney does, how he bounces back, what he learned from this fight. And Jacob Malkoun will continue on. Hold on. Whew, sorry about that. Wonder how 5'9" DC fought against 6'4" John Jones. Shows Ilya versus Islam is so possible. Yeah, I mean, but we also saw John Jones win every time he faced DC. So, you know, there's a chance, I'm sure, but I think Ilya's striking is better than DC's was. So none of these guys are DC. Oh yeah, I mean, Therese Finney is one of those guys that one of those guys that trains under DC. But man, he just didn't look good in this fight. Jacob Malkoun goes on now is on a 2-fight win streak. He got a TKO in the second round against Andre Petrosky in his last fight. So he'll be moving on to try to continue on that win streak, and Teres Finney will be coming back, trying to get back in the win column. We'll see how he bounces back from his first career loss and his first loss in the UFC. He low-key looks like DC. Yeah, except way more ripped. DC never looked that ripped. But speaking of Cam Rouston, he got a big win over Cody Brundage, where this was kind of a back and forth fight, man. It was a pretty fun fight to watch, honestly. I do think Ilya is an anomaly, though. He's unlike anything we've ever seen. I don't know, unlike anything we've ever seen, but I think he's a combination of things we've seen before. I guess, okay, that kind of makes it. Corny post-fight speech. Yeah. So a lot of these guys have corny post-fight speeches, unfortunately, man. Sometimes they're trying too hard on that mic and it sucks. So but yeah, Ilya's a different type, man. We just got to see what else he does. I don't want to give him fucking legend status, best of, GOAT status just yet. He's doing what Conor McGregor did, and is just kind of moving up in weight and not defending belts and shit. So, and then now he's got outside stuff going on, legal shit. So he is a global superstar for sure. That's what I mean. He's on that Conor McGregor level. But I don't know, man. I just think he needs to we need to just see what he keeps doing. Can he keep it up? What's he gonna do when he loses for the first time? Is he gonna just what's he gonna do? So I'm not down on Ilya at all. I just want to see him come back and see him keep doing shit, especially now that he moved up in weight. He fought a guy who moved up in weight as well. So it's not like and Charles is, he's weathered, man. He's never been finished, so that's what made it more exciting too. So yeah, that's what I mean. He KO'd Alex for the belt, KO'd Max, and then moved up for another belt and KO'd yeah. Well, he hasn't moved up 3 times. He only moved up twice. So yeah, he got Volkanovski and Max, and then defeated Charles for the 155. So but beating finishing Max and Charles both for the first times in their careers like he did, that's impressive. And I understand why everybody's so high on Ilya, and I'm not doubting him at all, but Hurt Armand is ready to buy Ilya's. Yeah, that shit was funny. I heard that too. But yeah, Ilya's a different type of dude, man. I'm not gonna argue that at all. I just want to see how it plays out and how he comes back from all these outside distractions. So, but Cam Rouston versus Cody Brundage, second round finish for Cam Rouston, TKO, where he dropped him and then finished him on the ground. So that was a fun fight to watch as well. And then Ilya versus Arman is the best fight in the UFC right now. Yeah, I definitely want to see that. None of them were washed. All 3 won after losing to Ilya. No, I don't think they were washed at all. I just think that they're at the and I hate to say it, but a lot of people were talking about how they were washed when they were coming up against Ilya. So I'm not going to be the one to say that they were, but I will say that they're at the the back end of their careers. Not Volk, well, maybe Volk even, but Volk's doing more than anybody. And Volk shouldn't have taken that fight with Ilya after getting knocked out by Islam like he did, and coming up 4 months later to fight somebody like Ilya. That shit was crazy. That shouldn't have happened, and I don't think it should have, I don't think it should have been the way that went down. But it was his choice. He took it, so it is what it is. I think Ilya versus Arman could be a huge fight, but they got to get the hype rivalry build. 2 rich guys with the best possible equipment and training. Yeah, I mean, but Arman talks a lot of shit, and Ilya won't back down to the shit talking. He doesn't get crazy about it, but right now he's so focused on that outside shit that, who knows how he comes back. Is he going to claim distractions when he comes back too? That's the other thing. So it's tough. But next up we have Billy Alencana versus Junior Tafa, and man, the Tafa bros, oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's what I mean. Volk shouldn't have taken that short notice fight with Makhachev, and then getting knocked out like that after a short notice fight, and then taking another very short note, not very short notice, but short camp. 4 months later after getting knocked out as hard as he did, that's tough. He shouldn't have done that. I don't agree with the way that went down, and it sucked. So, but man, the Tafa bros just continue to lose. Billy Alencana looking good in this fight, catching Tafa as you see here, and then he winds up getting the second round submission by rear naked choke. That puts Billy Alencana at 3-1 in the UFC, and he's on a 3-fight win streak after losing his UFC debut to Bogdan Guskov by submission. He's now won 3 in a row, 1 decision to Ibo Aslan, and now 2 submissions in a row with this win over Justin Tafa. So, I mean, Junior Tafa, I'm sorry. I think I said Justin before too, but you know what I mean. Junior Tafa. Junior Tafa is now 2-5 and on a 2-fight losing streak, which is tough for him. In his last, holy shit, 2, 3, 4. In his last 5 fights, he's 1-4. That's tough, man. The Tafa bros having a hard time. So we'll see what happens with them. Volk missed so much he shouldn't have took Islam too. Yeah, no, I agree for sure. Your thoughts about Volk is the reason why I think Volk is the GOAT. He was game and was told not to fight like Marab. It's the reason why my ranking is not the same as others. Yeah, I think it was a mistake though. I mean, he's a badass for what he's doing, but he let his mind take over, and he was going nuts. Not he goes nuts when he's not fighting, and I just think it was just too rushed. I don't know. I've said I'm a broken record with it now. Anyway, let's move on to the main card finally. The first fight of the night on the main card, Quillan Selkeld, who we thought was going to come out and get a big knockout, because that's what we've seen out of him in the past. But Jamie Malarkey is one of those guys that's he gets hit a lot, but he's pretty durable, and he's tough to get out of there. But Selkeld went for a takedown pretty early. It seemed like his goal was not to win by KO TKO. His goal was to get a submission, because he was coming off a TKO win or a knockout win with that head kick KO over Hakparas, and then the fight before that he had gotten a unanimous decision win. So it seemed like he wanted to get that extra stone in there on that I forgot what I was gonna say. I had a fucking thing that anyway, he wanted to get that hat trick and get all 3 finishes, or all 3 ways of ending a fight, and he got the submission. It looked like that's what he was ready to do. He wasn't gonna get in a war with Jamie Malarkey, so he went out there, went to take him down early, wasn't able to do anything with that first takedown, but he winds up getting a throw and tossing Jamie Malarkey down, and he wraps him up from the back with a rear naked choke. As you can see, he fucking twisted his head all sideways. If you notice how far Jamie Malarkey's head is twisted there, it was pretty nuts. Volk runs through Evloev and Murphy easy. Oof. I don't know if easy, but I think he can beat them both. Selkeld versus Dan makes sense. Dan versus Patty. Okay. But yeah, Selkeld, like he's on a good win streak right now, man. And he's got some really crisp striking, as we've seen. He's finished people with his hands and his feet, with the kicks and the punches. He's got good leg kicks and shit too. And now he's shown that he can submit people as well, not to mention, getting through 3 rounds and getting a win. So, finishing Jamie Malarkey in the first round by submission was just like something that he seemed like he set out to do, and he did it. The throw to transition to the back control was clean and decisive. He did what he needed to do. Landing that on somebody as experienced as Malarkey is impressive, with the experience that Selkeld has right now. So I do think he definitely has a future, man, for sure. 11-1 first round sub, 26 years old, big, 155, 6 foot with a 6'4" wingspan. Yeah, coming from Dana White's Contender Series. Yeah, he's shown and proven he can do everything at this point. Now, can he continue doing that? Is he gonna, did he get it all out of his system, and now he just needs to fight smart and figure out if he can implement his game plan? Then he just needs to have the fight IQ to know which way to finish somebody in that cage, or which way he needs to take this fight. as opposed to just sticking to one thing that he seems to be good at. You know what I mean? So can he put all that together? We'll see what kind of fight IQ he has when he comes up against somebody a little more skilled. And I think that's going to be what's going to show and prove how good he really is. But right now he looks damn good. And I think he's got a lot of potential. And I think if he works everything correctly, beating somebody like Malarkey may not seem like a big feat to anybody who you know, just looks surface level, but Malarkey is a vet, and he's durable, and yeah, he's been in there, he's got a lot of experience in there. So for Selkill to come in and do it the way he wanted to do it makes a lot of makes a lot of waves in there. Fight smart is the key word that you just said. He gets trapped into brawls, but I love how he adjusted himself in the first round. Exactly. Consistency and discipline decide his future. Yup. And he can't get too high on himself, and he can't just lean on one type of martial art that he's best at. Mixing it up like he's done, maybe he didn't do it on purpose initially, but mixing it up like he's done, it seemed pretty purposefully done, going for the submission in this fight. And I think he followed through with that plan really well, and he looked good doing it. So good for him. I'm excited to see what Quillen Selkill has coming up next, and what he's going to do in the future. So good for him on that one. Let's move on to the heavyweights. Man, what a disappointment. Tai Tuivasa, man. I wanted so much for him to get in the win column, but Telson Teixeira is a fucking beast. He's so huge, but we saw a little bit of a bad side to Telson Teixeira, besides getting KO'd early by the Black Beast, which is something that can happen to anybody if Derek Lewis comes out there on top of his game. But it's harder to know how you're going to fight through a 3-round fight. And while we've seen that out of Tuivasa, he never looks good going past the beginning of the second round, really. So it's tough to know what's going to happen with Tuivasa. But, you know, he showed some decent striking, and he was able to catch Telson a couple times. But Teixeira was so beat up. I mean, not beat up, but so beat down by his cardio. We don't know if it was just the cardio talking or what. I don't even want to talk about this fight. It's live with you, and we all had some kind of disappointment. Yeah, man, it was tough. It was really tough to watch, because just watching them both be as tired as they were in the second round already at the beginning of it, and just the sloppiness of the fighting and everything. I mean, while it looks like Teixeira looks, you know, fresh and good in both of these pictures, no, I don't think so, Antoine. I mean, he's 0-6 now, or he's on a 6-fight losing streak, basically. I think that what we were talking about last night is going to probably be what they do. He's going to drop. I don't understand how he was ranked at number 12, being that he was on a 5-fight losing streak. That is insane. So it was just one of those. I just don't understand how he was still in the rankings at all, in the top 15. So I think he drops out of the rankings for being in the top 15, and then they give him somebody that he might be able to take advantage of and beat, and then maybe see if he can turn things around. I doubt they get rid of him, though, because he's a fan favorite. He brings a lot of eyes in there, just because he's such the personality, gets everybody. It sucks because he has a lot of business. He doesn't have to fight. True, but I think he just loves fighting. Yeah, heavyweight is super shallow. I think that definitely proves that for sure. So we need some mix-ups going on in there. Maximans, maybe. I mean, I don't know. That might be tough for him too. Shit. But yeah, it was just upsetting to see the way that this fight went. I was hoping for. Yeah, I got you, Antoine. But. Oh God, I don't even know what else to say. There's not much else to say except for how disgusting the fight got after a while. How slow and tired they were. They're both fucking walking around doing nothing. His cut. 266. Teixeira was the tallest fighter. Oh yeah. Yeah, it was tough, and we were just waiting on Tuivasa to kind of come up in the ends of the rounds, or come up for air and throw a few big shots and hopefully catch Teixeira, but he wasn't able to do that. And the fact that he was down in every round, it just didn't work for Tuivasa. I hate even talking about it, man. I wanted to see a Shui in Australia. Would have been sick. Ty Solid Aura in the Cyril Gonfight era. Yeah, I mean, he's been able to do stuff like that, but that's what started his 6-fight losing streak, and here we are. So do you think this puts the UFC in a bad light, or that's real martial arts with 2 tired heavyweights? I don't think I think it puts that division in a bad light. I think it puts that division in a bad light. I don't think it says a whole lot about the UFC. When you get 2 smaller guys that are in there getting tired early, that's when it's a bad look. The heavyweights, especially somebody that looks like Tai Tuivasa, unfortunately, you kind of expect to see him get tired. So yeah, I don't think it puts the UFC in a bad light, just that division, really, especially because of how shallow it is, like you said. So moving on, though, we got BSD versus no, I'm sorry, we got Mauricio Hufi versus Rafael Fiziev. And holy shit, man, I really thought Fiziev was gonna come out of here with the win, especially with Hufi coming off a loss. But they both look pretty good. I think Fiziev did what he does, and he tried to control the pace, and Hufi looked not hesitant, but he looked patient. He was really trying to counter strike a lot, but he was letting Fiziev control the pace of the fight, and that was a little bit worrisome in the beginning, because Fiziev looked sharp coming out, taking control of the center of the octagon right away, pressing forward, landing those crazy leg kicks, as we talked about on the watch party, where that his leg was pretty beat up pretty early. Have never been that exhausted and then have to fight someone. Yeah, no shit. Oh shit, PSL, that sucks, man. Christian, who was in here earlier, wound up winning like $3,000 on one of his parlays. He lost another one, but yeah, he won $3,000 on one of his parlays, which was pretty crazy. But yeah, this I probably would have bet with you on this one and bet Fiziev because of Hufi and kind of his discretions right now after losing that fight. But and I will correct myself. I said that he left the Fighting Nerds. Apparently everybody was confused about that. He was over training with Volk, which I did say that. But he did, I guess he didn't leave the Fighting Nerds. He's just getting out there, getting some different training, some different looks, and he says he's still gonna go back home and train with the Fighting Nerds. So, but you know, everyone was talking about Jean Silva being pissed off at him for training with Volk, and he's talking shit to Volk too, and he unfollowed Hufi on Instagram and some shit like that. But you know, rumors and drama, whatever, who gives a shit. But Hufi says he's still part of the Fighting Nerds, and he's going to be going back and forth, maybe, is what it sounds like. But a perfect straight hand that dropped Fiziev badly. Yeah, that's true. That's exactly what happened there. And Hufi was able to get some shots in there, some counter shots that actually hurt Fiziev pretty well, and was able to get the knockdown and the TKO finish in the second round. And he got a performance of the night bonus. So his next opponent, because he beat top 9. So this is I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. He doesn't have. He's been fighting some pretty decent level opponents, especially with Fiziev now, and beating them. But he doesn't have a ton of fights in the UFC. You know what I mean? So it's like, do we fast track him now that he beat Fiziev? What has to happen to the Nerds? It sounds like internal breakdown after some of these fights. Yeah, I think some of these guys are a bit too overly passionate, and I think that's something that maybe take off the glasses. As you notice, I haven't been wearing the glasses either because I felt like I gave him bad luck. But yeah, I mean, the thing is though, if you listen to the post-fight interview in the cage, I guess he lost his brother recently, and on top of that, Volk talked about the fact that he was so sick that and so kind of beat up that his body was just not working, and he could barely even get up and walk around the morning of the fight. And he came down with the flu pretty badly, and they thought that he wasn't even going to make it to the fight. But he overcame all that shit, including the mental and emotional stuff of losing his brother, and he was able to get in there and get the win. So sometimes that kind of shit will propel you to do amazing shit. So he was strategic and he was patient. He didn't go in there fighting emotionally. He went in there fighting smart, and it looked like it paid off for him. So I think Hufi is now 4-1 in the UFC, so he's got 5 fights. You know, he beat King Green, James Yontop, and Jamie Malarkey. And I know that we gave Cellkill props for beating Malarkey, but I mean that's kind of the same level that Hoofy was in. People had bad things to say about Hoofy in that Yontop fight for not being able to finish him. But you know, he still got some really crazy good strikes in there. Yontop just is durable as shit, man, in a crazy way. But then he got that spinning heel kick over King Green, but King Green's not like the highest level of guys anymore. So that it's tough to go off of that. And he lost to Benoit Saint Denis by submission. So to come back and beat Fiziev is a good bounce back for him. And I think that with all the adversity he had to go through and overcome, getting to this fight and then getting in there and fighting with his head on straight, I commend him for that. And I think that if he continues focusing and changing things up to the point where it actually helps him and he stays patient like he has been and technical, I think that he's gonna win a lot more fights. So do you think Silva can ever beat Volk? Like Jean Silva? I don't think so, man. I really don't. Yes, if he stops shouting at the title. I don't think he can. Unless he gets Volk at the point where Volk has been fighting for way too long and he shouldn't be fighting anymore. That's about the only way I see it happening. I think that Jean Silva has his own set of skills, but as we've seen, Volk has come up against the best of the best and only lost to the very best. So I think that he can overcome anything that Jean Silva can bring to him, unless Silva gets even better and Volk starts to, you know, deteriorate a little bit with his skills. So that's what I think about that. Now we get to the co-main event. We had BSD versus Dan Hooker. Benoit Saint Denis is able to get the win over Dan Hooker by TKO in the second round. You know, this was one of those fights that Volk also called out Mozart if possible. Oh yeah. Yeah, and I think I don't know how they're gonna stop Mozart from getting the shot. I mean, they can stop it, of course, but yeah, I think they need to make that next. They need to start listening and paying attention. Just it's tough, you know. The UFC is gonna do what they're gonna do. BSD all around game won that fight. Yeah, I think he will pull Armin choke. I'm not sure what you were saying on that one. But yeah, BSD looked good in this fight. I mean, Dan Hooker is kind of a, I don't want to say one trick pony, but he really does rely on his striking and getting into some wars. And I think that hinders him sometimes. And, you know, his striking was decent early, but he didn't have a way to keep the fight standing. And BSD is just an all-around good fighter. He can, you know, he has a lot of submission wins. Hooker is a gamer. He just has the same game plan. Yeah. Who would you favor in Armin versus BSD? Ooh, that'd be a tough one. I think Saint Denis dangerous, but I think Armin has shown improved that he can overcome some of the stuff that Saint Denis has had to deal with or has put out there for his opponents. I think it'd be a tough fight, and I was wondering if Hooker would get some strikes in on BSD early and take the route that Dustin Poirier took with him and be able to you know, touch him up and beat him up. But Saint Denis has just gotten so much better since then, even, and he being on that 3-fight win streak that he was on, which is now 4. He's definitely gotten better throughout, beating Kyle Prepelic by submission, Mauricio Rufi by submission, handing him his first loss, and then beating Beneil Dariush in that 16-second first-round finish in his last fight. You know, and say what you will about Beneil, but Beneil usually is pretty durable and fights a lot smarter than that. I mean, he did look pretty old in that fight. So that's why I was kind of wondering how Dan Hooker would be able to come out here and maybe sneak in some strikes and get some good hits in on BSD and wear him down early. But Saint Denis he looked good, man. He looked good all the way around and was able to get him down and work his way into, you know, submission attempts and wear out Dan Hooker. And then on top of that, you know, when they were able to get back on the feet, he was able to wear him out on the feet as well, and he gets the second round TKO win. He's so good at ab kicks, but doesn't have anything else besides the experience with fighting top fighters. What does that experience matter if you fight the same way? I get what you're saying. I think Justin will retire after fighting Ilya, because there's no way Justin beating heartbroken Ilya. I mean, you probably have a good point there, PSL. Not gonna lie, you probably have a point there. So Justin, it's gonna be a tough fight for Justin. I don't know how he would win, except for catching Ilya, just catching him. That's about the only way. But Justin is pretty durable, but we've seen him get knocked out before. I'm talking Hooker, brother, about experience. Oh no, I understand, Shawnee. Yeah. No, I was rereading what you just said, but yeah, for sure. Yeah, I got you because of the ab kicks and stuff. He doesn't have anything else. Yeah. He can't go anywhere if he doesn't progress, and I think he's just stuck in his ways. He's a brawler. He fights the same way every time, for sure. I think anything can happen in the fight. Justin will be the hardest hitter he's ever faced. That could be true too, Antoine. That's why I say, unless he catches Ilya, though, I think Ilya will break him. Armin versus Ilya is the only fight Dana is just making UFC boring. Yeah, I mean, I get the arguments, but you know, it's always that way. But Dana does claim to make all the fights you want to see right now instead of 5 years down the road, but recently it doesn't seem that way, so it's kind of tough and it sucks. But Dan Hooker is now on a 2-fight losing streak because he lost to Armin Tsarukyan by submission in his last fight, and that was a tough one for him as well. Lost in the second round of that one as well, but before that he had a banger of a fight with Mateusz Gamrot that he won by split decision, but man, that was a crazy fight. He was on a 3-fight win streak before he met up with Armin and got submitted, and now he's on a 2-fight losing streak after losing to Benoit Saint Denis. So that brings us to the main event. UFC is not going to make a top Armin. Are any betting odds for Ilya versus Justin? I haven't looked, so I'm not sure. Now we get to the main event, and I know how some people in the chat felt about it, and I understand, but it is what it is. That's the fight we got, and we got Alexander Volkanovski defending his title after getting it back against Diego Lopes when he beat him for the vacant title after Ilya moved up. And we saw what happened in that first fight. You know, Diego was able to drop Alexander in the second round, I think, of that fight, but then Volkanovski took over and was able to dominate in those last 3 rounds, making it a non-issue as to whether he won or not. But Lopes, you know, he was able to actually kind of drop him, you know, even though Volk got up quickly, he did drop him again in this fight, which is crazy. Volk should have fought Armin. It would be a banger. Well, Armin was, you know, kind of saying that he might drop down, and if he does, Volk said bring it. So that would be a crazy ass fight. But yeah, it just seemed like Lopes just didn't have anything different for Volk this time. He didn't fight him the exact same way, but I just don't think that anything that he tried really did any difference in the fight. It just kind of went the same way. And I saw someone like MMA Guru saying this was like a really bad fight and that he doesn't even know that Volk actually won or some shit like that. That's a crazy take, man. I don't really know if he's just doing that for clicks or what, but it just seems crazy. I mean, I get it if you didn't like the fight, but just, yeah, I don't know. I find it hard to see UFC booking an Armin title fight. Also, Armin talking about him dropping to 145. So what is he cutting off? An arm or leg? Question is Armin the same level as Ilya and Islam? That's yet to be seen, man. He hasn't fought either one of those guys, and just looking at it from an outside, I don't know that he I think he's really, really good. I don't know if he's exactly at that level yet. I think we need to see him fight some of these guys that he can prove himself up against, but he just can't seem to get those fights. But it is his fault. He you know, got injured or whatever, but he missed his title shot, and we could have known already what the fuck was gonna happen. And we don't know because he fucked up, and now the UFC is being hard-headed about giving him that title fight, so that's why he's talking about moving down. So I guess we'll see. MMA Guru is just a crybaby. He just lost his beat. Yeah, I mean, I don't take what he says, you know, as word all the time. He does have some good takes on some stuff, but yeah, a lot of it's just like a lot of guys in here, some rage bait, you know. They're trying to clickbait shit. It happens, but he's had success with it, so I can't down on him too much. But yeah, Volk was able to just get the momentum swinging in his direction as he usually does. And you know, even though it would have been nice to see a big knockout or something like that coming from him, he fought a hard fought fight to win, and he showed and proved that he's the great, and he ties Jose Aldo for the most title wins or something like that in the division. So, and he's just going to keep going. You know, I did mention something about how possibly he could, you know, imagine if he was gonna retire here after winning in Australia, but he says he's not done, and I believe he can do a little more. So yeah, let him fight Armin if he comes down. Shit, let him fight Movzar, let him fight Lerone Murphy if he can get if he doesn't lose in any of those, you know. I mean, that's just going to show and prove how much of a goat he actually is. Armin did so many problems for UFC in early 2025. Huge disappointment. Should have fought Islam instead of breaking back with me. I personally think Armin is the true #1 contender at lightweight. Do I think that makes sense from a business? No, but he slept on. Yeah, no, I think Armin's great, but he needs to just clean it up a little bit. I think he continues to the next 2 or 3 years. I don't know about 2 or 3 years, maybe 1 or 2 years. But shit, you never know. Volk is just going, man. He's going. So he's got a lot of outside businesses as well, and he's doing well out there. I just don't know that when he would be ready to give it up, because he's talked in the past about how he gets depressed when he doesn't have a fight or a training camp. So it's a tough thing to know what he's really gonna do, and that scares me for him in the future. If he starts losing fights and becomes like a Tony Ferguson, I don't want to see that happen, man. So let's hope that doesn't happen. But for now, Alexander Volkanovski retains his title. On to the next with another run as the featherweight champion, and you know, he looks good doing it. So we'll see who they give him next. Movzar, if they give him Lerone Murphy, who knows, but it'll be interesting, and I'll be excited to see it. So let's take a look real quick at the Fight Wheel predictions and see what we drinking, fam, so I can pour a drink and toast, brother. Oh, I'm always drinking an old fashioned, man. That's my favorite. I have my own concoction. So yeah, I drink old fashions. So whiskey, yep, whiskey all day. Those drinks are the best, and bet it's yeah, Infinity knows he's had them every time he's been here. I took everything to make them for him up there on Friday. So yeah, I make my own concoction of it. It's good. Yeah, it is whiskey. This one is actually Buffalo Trace, but I have a bunch of different whiskeys over there. As you can see, I have some higher ones. Not Everclear. No. I done did that way too many times back in the day. I don't need any of that shit anymore. I have had moonshine. I've had Mexican moonshine, and that shit is rough. Holy fuck. But looking at the Fight Wheel predictions, as you can see, Mauricio Rufy did get the win. Jamie Malarkey did not. If you're new here and don't know, like PSL maybe, I do Fight Wheel predictions. It's totally random. I spin the wheel. The wheel predicts who's gonna win the fights, and I, mark it down here. So it had Jamie Malarkey beating Quillen Selkill. That did not happen. It had Tai Tuivasa winning. It did not happen. But it had Volkanovski winning. That did happen. And so with the same with BSD. So every alcohol makes you dehydrated. Wow, how many times have you had Everclear? Too many, Antoine. Unfortunately, I'm a dumbass, and I try to, I can hold my alcohol pretty good, and we did some crazy shit when I was a kid. So yeah, Everclear's stupid. We used to make all kinds of jungle juice and shit. I had another drink I used to make with Everclear, which is fucking stupid. To be honest with you, I don't know what I was thinking. It's my first time seeing you. Nice stream. Just subbed you. Oh, hey, thanks, PSL. I appreciate you, man. That helps a lot. Make sure you like the video while you're here as well. As you see, the Fight Wheel predictions were 3-2, so not too bad, but not the best. But out of 5 fights, we got a winning record there. So yeah, and I think last week's were okay as well. I think it went 3-2 as well. There's been a couple times where the Fight Wheel has predicted every single fight correctly, so it's pretty crazy. But that's about it for me, man. Wrapping it up. Dude, you guys are fucking killing it in the chat, man. I appreciate all the interactions for sure. It is fun to have all you guys in here talking to me. Thanks again, 78 Northwest. I appreciate you as well. I will be. Did anyone watch Zuffa Boxing with their $25 Walmart gift card and a $25? What? I don't even know what you're talking about. But no, I did not watch it. But yeah, I might go back and watch it because I have yet to see an actual event. So I might go back. I haven't even watched one fight from Zuffa Boxing. So I do got to go back and check it out and see what it's about. But I appreciate all you guys in there, man. Come back on Thursday for a preview of the next UFC event, which will be UFC Fight Night, Bautista versus Oliveira, Mario Bautista versus Lockdog, Vinicius Oliveira. That's your main event. Amir Albazi versus Kyoji Horiguchi. That should be a sick-ass fight for the co-main. Jalton Almeida versus Rizvan Kuniev. Mikhail Zaechuk versus Marc-Andre Barrio. That has potential. Jean Matsumoto versus Farhad Basharat, and Dustin Jacoby versus Julius Walker. That's your main card. What music have you been bumping lately? I don't listen to a ton of music anymore. I listen to podcasts all the time, but I listen to a lot of old school shit. Newer stuff, I like Joyner Lucas a lot, so that's something that I'll play a lot of. But otherwise, it's a lot of old school shit, to be honest with you. But anyway, yeah, that's it for me for now. Come back on Thursday for a preview of the first Fight Night event of the year, and anything else that's going on around combat sports. So that's it for me. Make sure you hit the like button, please. I appreciate all of you for being in here. I appreciate all of you for interacting and keeping up the chat. Thank you as well. All is good. Everyone that was in here, anyone new, anyone that's coming back, just much love to all of you, man. Thank you guys for the support. I appreciate you. That's it for me. I'm out of here. Take it easy. Peace.